Do you feel like it's time to take a big step forward in your life, but you're a little bit afraid? In this video, I'm going to be discussing 3 signs it's time for you to take a leap in the direction of what you want in your life, what can happen if you don't, and what you can do to begin the process of this forward shift. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm a divine freedom and clarity coach, a spiritual transformation coach. I help people get freedom from their past, their traumas, and their wounds, and clarity on where they're going to go in their life and the vision that they want to create. Before we jump into the video for today, I just want to let you know that I'm doing free breakthrough calls. There is a link pinned in the comment section below. These are really great calls, 30-minute calls where we will go over your vision for your life, what's stopping you, and the steps you can take to step into your power. Now, many times in my life, I have had to be hit basically in the face with a bat. Someone call this divine leveler. Because I was resisting the change that I knew needed to happen. Can you relate to this? Is this you? I will give you an example because this is something that happens a lot of times when we don't trust ourselves, when we don't trust the guidance we're getting, and we're just very comfortable, or we think we're comfortable with where we are. We will hold on for dear life. And the signs from the universe will get stronger and stronger and stronger until it just kind of flat out kicks you in the head. So many years ago, I'd been in my awakening journey for a little while, and I was working a job as a server, and I hated it, and it was wearing me down. I went and I did ayahuasca for the first couple times. It was a weekend, and I felt my consciousness expand a lot. I healed a lot. I got upgraded a lot. And I kind of knew that I could no longer work as a waiter because I needed to step back, let my body heal, and take some more steps forward. So I go back to work, and I was basically literally short-circuiting. I was like a short-circuiting droid who someone just took a bucket of water and just threw it all over the droid. I could not get my nervous system under control. I just done a bunch of ayahuasca. I just expanded my consciousness immensely. And I'm super empathic, super sensitive. My psychic skills are opening up, and I'm in a restaurant, okay? So any empath understands, like a packed restaurant for hours with all this energy swimming back and forth. I hated the job to begin with. People like barking orders left and right. It's the second you get something in your head, someone else stops you, they complain. I was ready to flip out, and I would go into the bathroom actually, and there was this metal bar against the wall, and I would grab it and I would shake it and I would just scream like really loud because no one could hear because they played music so loud in the restaurant. I was just absolutely done. So what I did was I went to management and I said, listen, I need to take some time off. Is it possible? And I also had currently had a second job that was a little more laid back. I was a tech in a rehab, but I didn't have to do a lot there. It was easier on my body. And the GM said, well, normally I can't give somebody a whole month off, but I'll see what I can do. He came back to me a couple days later and he's like, good news, I worked it out. You can take the time off if you want. Now, I was in really good standing at this place at the time. But even though I kind of knew I needed to say yes to this, I was like, no, you know what? Never mind. It's okay. I'm not going to do it because I didn't know if I was going to have enough money taking the time off. Well, what happened was I began to completely fall apart. My nervous system went into absolute disarray. I was like, I couldn't keep my shit together. I was burning the fuck out. And eventually I got shopped. So when you work in a restaurant, sometimes they will have people come in and sit down and pretend that they're customers, but they're really there to critique you and your performance in the restaurant. And then they secretly turn in what they call a shopper report. Anyway, I got what the GM said was the worst shopping report he had ever seen. I got like a 43% on a scale of up to 100%. Okay, there were all these horrible notes. It said I ripped the menus out of the customer's hands. I cut off a guest mid-sentence while he was trying to order. I didn't know the specials. I felt awful. They called me into the office and they're like, this is insane. We have to let you go. And long story short, I can't really tell much more of the story, but I apologized. I tried to make amends for it, but I got fired. And I knew it was right for me. It was because I wasn't supposed to be there. And I had gotten the impulse to leave. I had gotten the opportunity to leave, and I didn't take it. And so what happened was everything fucking just blew up and pushed me out anyway. Has this ever happened to you? Is it happening to you now? I'm going to now cover 3 signs. 3 signs it's time for you to take the step forward in your life. The first one is you keep seeing the same repeating negative patterns, but they're getting louder and louder and louder. You have a feeling you're not in the right place, you're not happy, and things are kind of beginning to fall apart around you. It's like synchronistically negative. You get in trouble for things you didn't do. There's all kinds of misperceptions about you, misunderstandings. Things seem like out of your control to be falling apart. This is a sign it's probably time for you to go. And what's going to happen is what happened to me. If you don't listen, the signs get louder and louder and louder until it blows up. It's important to note, and I am not saying this will happen to you, but it's important to note that at this point in time, this is also when people can get injured. I see it happen all the time with clients. They fall, they pull a muscle, there's some sort of accident. It's like something in them just bursts because they're resisting the move so much. I don't want to put that in anyone's head. It probably won't happen to you. You'll probably be fine. But this is part of the process. I've seen it many times. Now here's the kicker. It doesn't have to blow up. It only blows up when we deeply resist. The second sign is you're feeling very stagnant. Anytime you're stagnant, it's a sign that you need to be taking another step. Even if you're resting, if there are rest periods in life where it's time to stop and do nothing, you won't feel stagnant. You will feel like you're being replenished by the rest, because rest is also an action. Sometimes we move forward, sometimes we stop and recuperate. But at some point, we begin to feel stagnant because we're not growing. You always want to be in some sort of flow. It doesn't have to require a lot of pressure, a lot of pushing. It's just the energy of flow. The step you need to take can be very, very small and easy. But as soon as you do, you will feel the flow. So if you feel stagnant and particularly unhappy and depressed, that's a sign something is looking to shift. And the step might be, like if you have deep-seated depression or trauma, that you need to reach out to somebody and look for a way to resolve that. That's a step too. But you will feel a flow when you do that, at least a little. And the third sign, you feel a repetitive nudge in a particular direction of something you want to do, and the mind keeps doubting it, and you're not going. This is a major sign. It's a calling from inside, from your higher self, from your soul, and your mind is resisting because it's afraid. It doesn't know the hows. It doesn't know the whys. I don't have enough money. How am I going to support myself? It's going to give you all these questions that are just trying to keep you safe, but ultimately they're keeping you from taking the leap that you're being asked to take. Anytime there's a nudging or a feeling of something that calls to you, that's the direction you're meant to go. Now, that doesn't mean you just throw everything out, quit your job, leave your partner all at once, because there's a practicality to this. Like, life is complicated. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to jump off a cliff with no parachute whatsoever like a mad person, although sometimes that is required. You want to ask, what is the step that is necessary for me to do right now? But you always can trust if there's a nudging and it feels good. Like when you're in a state that's not fearful, when you're in a state where you're quiet and you meditate, maybe at night when you close your eyes before bed, or you're in the shower and you feel that calling and it's kind of joyful, that is a nudging in the direction you want to go. Now, I've already covered this a little bit, but what happens if you don't listen? Other than your life blowing up, like I already mentioned, you can waste your time. You can waste your life sitting somewhere that makes you miserable. And you get more and more and more drained. You get more and more depressed. You feel sad. You feel empty. You feel lost. You don't respect yourself because you know you're debting, you're self-debting. It's very important to understand that it's scary to go out of our comfort zone and to do something new, but it's often worse, way worse, if we stay where we are and we're unhappy. Now, what can you do about this? What is being asked of you? And I want to break this down a little bit because a lot of people, myself included, I've gone through this pattern many times, are afraid to jump because of how difficult life can be. Because they're afraid that they won't be supported, they won't be taken care of, or they're not sure how big the jump has to be. Because if you hate your job, and you have job security, it may be the right move for you to just quit and leave and trust, and it may not. It may be the right move for you to just start taking a course somewhere so that you can build skills to leave. The way you can tell is more in how you feel. So I would ask very clearly, in a clear, quiet space, your higher self, your guidance, what step is being asked of me? What is the next right step? That's all we ever know. Because sometimes the next step leads you to the thing, but sometimes it just leads you to something that leads you to something that leads you to something that leads you to the thing that you're supposed to be doing. Our mind tends to presume the whole path, and it almost never knows. But your intuition will tell you through your feeling what the next step is for you. It's never linear. So some of the things you can do, ask yourself what you're afraid of. Ask yourself where this fear came from. Who in your life is doubting you? Who from your childhood doubted you? Where did these patterns come from? What is the worst case scenario of you staying where you are? What small step can you take today, even if it's just researching a class online, to step into the energy of the flow of where you're meant to go? Because we tend to think we have to have it all figured out by tomorrow and it all needs to be done. It doesn't. As soon as you take the next small step, you will feel better. You will feel a movement, a hope, a motion, a passion. And that's your sign. And that's important to know. All the universe generally requires from you is to be taking those little steps, and it's there. Like, for example, if you're in a marriage and you can't just leave tomorrow. I mean, I understand how complicated life is. I've been in these situations too. I had to leave a job I was in for 4 years. I had job security. It took me like a year to get up the courage to even consider to get out. It's not so much about, I got to get out tomorrow. I mean, if you really got to get out, the universe will fucking hit you and throw you out. But it may just be talking to somebody about getting out. And you will feel that. You'll be like, oh my God, I feel better. Like, that feels right. And then the next step might be to look into ways that you could make a little bit of extra money, or support systems, or just small little things. You want to do it logically, unless, again, the universe just throws you. Sometimes that happens. But you want to do things logically, little by little. And you can always set the intention for the easiest path necessary, and then out of where you are or to the next place, and what is the next step, and wait and feel it, and you'll know. And if you have way too much fear and trauma, which happens to know, then the next step might be working with somebody who can help clear up the fear and trauma. There's always a step though. And if that's where you truly are and what you truly need, that step will feel like the right thing. So let me know if you have any questions on that, concerns, revelations, breakthroughs. I always like to hear from you. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I have a free energy clearing in the description. It can help a lot to move some energy out of your body, to move some of these stuck patterns. And thank you so much. I look forward to next time.